Hello and welcome to the lecture titled as Concept and Features of Constitutionalism. As the title itself suggests, in this lecture we will try to understand what actually we mean by the term constitutionalism, how it is different from the term constitution or constitutional law, and what are the features by which we identify if constitutionalism exists in a particular nation or not. In this lecture, I shall discuss definition of term constitutionalism, meaning of constitutionalism, what is different between constitutional law and constitutionalism, the object and the principle of constitutionalism, and what are different features of constitutionalism. Constitutionalism is different from constitution or constitutional law. Constitution of a country may be written or unwritten. However, constitution is a way of evaluating the form, substance, and legitimacy of the constitution. In other words, the principle of constitutionalism tries to understand to what extent the basic constitutional principles are adhered to by the people of a country and how deep these principles are entrenched within the heart and soul of the people. The another meaning that is ascribed to constitutionalism is that of limitation on the powers of the governed. The principle of constitutionalism therefore seeks to explain the objectives of a good constitution. The substance of the doctrine of constitutionalism, says Henkin, lies in the limited power and limited government. So, in this subject, we study what are the different mechanisms by which checks and balances are imposed by one branch of government upon the another. The main object for practicing constitutionalism is to prevent absolutism. It seeks to prevent the vesting of absolute discretion or arbitrary discretion in any one center of power. Lord Acton has stated that power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, constitutionalism ensures that power is not actually vested in any branch of the government. It seeks to ensure this by various doctrines, various principles such as separation of powers and federalism, etc. The core of the constitutionalism is, says Carl Friedrich, safeguarding each member of the political community as a political person possessing of sphere of genuine autonomy. That is, it seeks to protect every person, a member of the political community, from interference in the autonomy, in his personal autonomy or his personal freedom. The question therefore arises how to identify whether constitutionalism actually exists in a political system or not. According to Louis Sankin, there are nine elements. Uh, by observing these elements, we can find out whether constitutionalism exists in a particular legal system or a nation or not. First is that government should act according to the constitution, and the people, the general public, will have faith in the constitution or will act according to the principles of the constitution only if government is run and government adheres to the basic structure of the constitution. Separation of power is necessary because otherwise there is always a danger that one branch of the government, either legislative, judiciary, or executive, will tend to behave possess absolute powers and thus deprive the general public from its constitutional rights. In a society where constitutionalism in adhere to, there is sovereignty of the people and democratic government. Constitutionalism is very hard to be viewed or contemplated in a society with absolute monarchy. Constitutional review is a instrument by which judiciary keeps its eyes over the various branches of the government to see that the absolutism is prevented, that no branch of the governance, either executive, judiciary, or legislature, etc., they exceed their powers. Further, independence judiciary is necessary to perform the function of judicial review. Constitutionalism, by its very definition, gives the idea of limited government. The power of the government to infringe the rights of the people is limited by the Constitution itself. Uh, there should be control of the people on the police and on the military, and the government should not have power to suspend the constitution, or if it has such power should be circumscribed and should be limited to very exceptional circumstances only. The question arises as to the relevancy of separation of powers in the context of constitutionalism. Constitutionalism is supported by the doctrine of separation of powers to establish impartiality and to prevent abuse of power. But to what extent the separation of powers should exist is debatable. Pure separation of powers may sometimes lead to constitutional deadlock. On the other hand, separation of power guarantees that the human rights, freedom, and liberties of the citizens are best protected through the Constitution. So V.N. Sukla's Constitution of India, edited by M.P. Singh, and Comparative Constitutional Law by D.D. Basu are two books which are referred for further studies to the. Some of the key questions for self-appraisal by the students are given in this slide.